On today's episode of Breaks with Bailey, I'm going to tell you a little story about how I had to get blood drawn yesterday and how it went. I have a rare liver disease, so I have to have my blood drawn every 3 to 6 months. I just started a hormone replacement therapy. That means that anytime I start something new, I have to get my blood drawn even more. So I have lots of experience with getting blood drawn. That's important for the story. So I sit down, and it's a student and an advisor or whatever. And the student starts. And I tell them, usually the left arm's easiest. It's not very deep, pretty much right in the middle. So she didn't really listen to that. Did her own thing. And she used a needle, not the little butterfly thing. And the butterfly thing is so much better. So she starts digging around in there, like moving it around. And it's not pleasant. It doesn't necessarily hurt, but it's not pleasant. Pretty soon the advisor takes over. It's like, okay, let me see if I can find it. Digs around a little bit more. Then they decide to change arms. Great. I can tell you where it is on this one too. There's a stretch mark right on my arm where it is. Follow the path. So the advisor tries in the other arm with a butterfly, which is a little smaller needle, easier to, I don't know anything about this, but it just seems like it's always better than the big needle. I only had to have one little vial filled up, so it wasn't like when you go in and you have to have 50 of them. So that's why I'm sure they started with the needle. Bailey's don't break. Actually, she just had to get more comfy. As soon as they can't get it out of the second arm, they call in someone else. And they're literally digging around on the other arm too. I don't understand this. I mean, I know that it's not always easy, but it's never usually this hard. The lady comes in, finally gets it. Great, thank you. This morning, I'm thinking about the parts of me that were engaged during this fun adventure. And I wrote them down. So one part of me, I do internal family systems in case you're new to my channel. One part of me said, be tough. Don't show that this hurts. There's another part of me that was, be funny. I know that I have parts of me that in circumstances, be funny, be sarcastic, be self-deprecating. And that's a part of me that really helps soothe my nervous system. I had a part that really did feel like it hurt. And then there was a part of me that said, this is kind of scary. I don't like this. And then the last part of me was, what in the hell is wrong with them? Screw them. I'm never going back here again. They don't know what they're doing, etc. So those parts of me are all welcome in my system. In the moment, really the funny part and the be tough part win. It's only after does my system kind of allow these other parts to come in and tell me what they were feeling. What do I do with this information? That's a great question. So the part that said this is kind of scary is probably my inner child or an exile, what they call in internal family systems. That's actually who all these other protectors, all these other parts are protecting. This is kind of scary. In my system, you have to build up a lot of trust with these other protector parts in order to get to that this is kind of scary part. So what I want to do is, what I'm doing this morning and why I'm doing my journaling is to figure out what these protector parts were afraid was going to happen if they didn't do the thing that they did in the moment or right after. So the part that's like tough part, we don't want to have them stop doing this because we need this information. The funny part is the part that is afraid that if it doesn't continue to be funny, we will overwhelm the system. My funny part actually is an amazing manager of my system. The part that said this hurts, that part was probably myself, self-energy, because it was in the moment true. It was honest. It had no agenda. It just said, this hurts. And then, what the hell is wrong with them? Why can't they figure this out? I hate them part is a firefighter part. That firefighter part is almost always reactionary and mad. That part doesn't ever want us to go back and do this again in any way. So that's why it's trying to keep me safe. So as soon as I start to untangle this, I can feel inside my body a sense of calm that I didn't have before I did this. And that calm is my self energy kind of getting more grounded in my system. And now I can really get to that part that was, this is kind of scary. Because what that part needs is for the self energy inside of me to say to that part, we're okay. You're safe. This was just an uncomfortable situation and we're going to be okay. You're okay. And then inside my body, I literally can feel when I have that conversation between that self energy part and my inner child part, or little Megan, I can literally feel a little bit of space, a little bit of calm, a little bit of peace. Now, what could I have done in the moment? Good question. What I do is I took some deep breaths. I tried to witness my parts from outside. So I kind of tried to not be in a part while I was sitting there, but watch them flow through me. And that's just something that I do because I'm so curious about what happens inside of my system these days. And that's what I did. Now, what someone else could do who isn't as kind of up on this technique and this process, this internal family systems process, is to just continue to take deep breaths. For some reason, that just can ground us into our body and get a sense of calm around the situation. It takes a lot of practice, and it's going to be the rest of my life that I have to do these things. So I just think of it as like an expedition into my inner world when I don't feel afraid. And when I feel safe, I can do that. There's a little story for you. And if you want to learn more about internal family systems, I have a free DIY IFS starter kit in my little you-know-where. It's a great way to just kind of learn the very basics and get started. So check that out.